then I may have. I would like to start with a personal biographical comment. I'm engaged in the German left since the mid-60s, and we tried to make a party in '60 when the Great Coalition was formed at the end of 1966 in Bonn, and this was just at the beginnings of the students' movement, Students' Rebellion. We are leading groups from the Socialist Student Organization. We wanted to make a party. We had talks about it. Our model at this time was the Italian party of Leo Basso, the PSIOP, and the PSU in France, and in Denmark there was Axel Larsen's People's Party. We thought it might be possible to organize a party of democratic socialism, left of the Social Democrats. We failed for different reasons, which are of historical interest by now. There was another initiative at the end of the 70s and the beginning of the 80s, in midst of the very massive peace movement in Germany and in the world, within the Social Democratic Party, from parliamentaries, to form a party of democratic socialists, and they voted in parliament against Helmut Schmidt, who was the Social Democratic Chancellor at this time. There was again, at this time, there was a first wave of protest against the beginning of neoliberal politics on the social democracy in Germany at the end of the 70s, the beginning crisis, and there was the peace movement. But also, this failed. Our comrade Koppig, who was one of the two parliamentary members of parliament at this time, who wanted to build a party, just told me he's now in the left party in Frankfurt, and I had a student who wanted to write a paper on it and wanted to have information, and I got him into contact with Koppig. He's a lawyer in Offenbach near Frankfurt, and he said, oh, it was so simple. At the moment when we just built up the party and we wanted to let it go, Social Democrats were thrown out of government. Helmut Kohl became chancellor, and from one moment to the other, the social democracy in its propaganda, in its language, they became left again. So we had no chance. And still at this time, there was no chance within the Social Democratic Party and within the trade unions that there might have been a mass support for such a separate left-wing organization and a political party left from the social democracy. So this is amazing at first sight what has happened in the past 2 or 3 years, what Ingar has just exposed. And we have a change in the party system, and the party is successful in elections, etc. etc. The German left is, of course, an issue with many interesting aspects. It was the strongest left in history, not nearly the strongest in the world, at least before the First World War, building the most powerful party of course, Marx and Engels were Germans too. And you old comrades that in the 60s and 70s said the German left never really got over the defeat of 1933. This was the shame that the German left was beaten and did not react, etc., etc. And the post-war development and history in the Cold War have now this kind of cementing the differences in the GDR. On the one side, it was the communist rule. On the other side, Social Democrats were on the side of the West in the Cold War and anti-communist, etc. So there was no chance to work on this problem. Why the German left failed in this situation, and at the same time, the German ruling class and the German state apparatus was always very, well, brutal then with the German left, because it was so strong. Since 1933, but also before 1930s, we remember the murder of Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht and everything that happened after the First World War. And after 1945, the Communist Party was illegalized in 1956. and it's a very personal experience you have when you accumulate hatred in your life. I know personally, I have known, they are dead by now, I have known personally communists that were sent to jail at the end of the 50s by the same judges that had sent them to concentration camp before 1945. And it was a very strict atmosphere of the anti-communism when the student organization of the Social Democracy, SDS, was expelled in 1961 and became the cell of a reorganizing opposition, and you left. I remember a conference at the end of the 80s in Berlin when some of the older cadres of this SDS came together, and they asked, because in the histories written on the SDS, they say that it was a grace for the SDS that they were expelled from the Social Democratic Party. It made them independent, and they became successful until the end. And the leading cadres which directly experienced this situation, they said, no, we fought not to be expelled. We fought, and Wolfgang Ambrot, our mentor in Marburg, and the mentor of these, he fought, he was expelled too from the Social Democracy. They all fought for not being expelled. And you said, you know the reason? At this time, left from the SPD, there was nothing. There was jail, there was discrimination, and so we fought to be, not to be marginalized, not only politically, but also socially, culturally, and your professional career and everything else. Well, the students' movement contributed to a step in the direction of democratizing German society, as did the government of Willy Brandt, but at the same time they had the Berufsverbot in the 70s again, and keeping radical people out of public works, etc., etc. So before this background, that's what I wanted to say. It is very amazing, and it's wonderful that we have the chance to establish, I say we have the chance to establish such a left-wing political project now in the 21st century. There's just another information I would like to add. The German Left Party is member of the European Left Party. They have formed the European Left Party formally, and they have formed it also for the European Parliament, where they build a fraction. The most important members of this European Socialist Left Party is the Italian Rifondazione Comunista, it's the French Communist Party, it's in Spain the Izquierda Unida, and in Greece it's the smaller former Communist Party of the exterior, I think, because the other Communist Party doesn't join, they think they are reformists. This European project is very important too, but I must inform you that at least in these times the Germans is the only party which has electorate success. They just had a catastrophe in Spain. The Izquierda Unida fell below 5%. And it's the only party, well, this plays a certain role in politics, which has money. Because German parties are very financed by the state. Everything they do, they don't want, of course, to finance left-wingers, etc., but they must, according to the rules. But the big foundations like Adenauer and Friedrich, they all collect immense amounts of money from the state. So the Rosa Luxemburg Foundation, which is a foundation of the new party, also gets much less, but still, from our own experience, it's a lot of money they get from the state, and a lot of money they also can invest into the project of the new European party. But still, it's very complicated at this European level. You can see this in the case of the Italian